So for this one, here's how I set up the equation, and let me explain this to you so it sort of makes sense. So here we're being asked, so how many liters of a 25% solution must be added to 3 liters of a 10% solution to obtain a total 15%. So here's how I wrote it down. I sort of thought about it just in terms of how much saline is per solution, right? So 0.25 times x, where x is what we're looking for. X is the number of liters of 25% solution. So 0.25 times x, where x is the liters of 25% solution, is just this is just the amount of saline from that, right? So we're adding this to 3 liters of 0.1% solution. I'm sorry, 3 liters of 10% solution, so I'm multiplying it by 0.1. And we're setting that equal to 0.15, because we want it to be 15%. And we don't know how many liters, right? But however much it's going to be x plus 3 liters, right? Because it's going to be 3 liters of this stuff, and however many liters we're going to add from the 25% solution. So how would you actually solve this? Well, let's just, so 0.25x plus 0.1 times 3, right? So just 0.3 is equal to, let's distribute the 0.15, so that's 0.15x plus 0.15 times 3, so 0.45. And from here, just sort of solve like you ordinarily would. So let's get all our x's on one side. So let me do minus 0.15x on both sides here. So we just have 0.1x plus 0.3 is equal to 0.45 minus 0.3 on both sides. So 0.1x is equal to 0.15. And finally, to isolate your x, right, isolate your variable, just divide by whatever's next to it. So x is equal to 0.15 divided by 0.1. So that's the same as, so, you know, if to figure this out, this is the same as 15 over 100 divided by like 1 over 10, right? So flip the second and multiply, so 15 over 100 times, if this is 1 over 10, flip it, that would be 10 over 1, right? 10 over 1, so that's equal to 150, right, over 100, which is equal to 1.5. So x is equal to 1.5 liters. So we need to add 1.5 liters of the 25% solution. So I think here the actual solving part is pretty straightforward. Let me just try to one more time go over why I set up the equation this way. So the reason I did that is, again, I just sort of thought about the whole thing in terms of how much saline we have and how much we basically need, right? We are given that we are adding a 25% saline solution. So if you're thinking in terms of how much saline you're adding, well, that would be 0.25 times the number of liters you have, right? So we're adding it to 3 liters of 10% solution. So again, if we're thinking in terms of how much saline we already have, well, it's going to be 0.1 times 3, right? That's how many liters of saline we'll have. And so how many do we need? Well, we need 15%. So 0.15 times however much volume we will have. And here's the key part. It's however much volume you'll have will be 3 plus however many x liters you add. So it's 0.15 times x plus 3. And so from here, you just solve for